it's a video of nothing really, but I figured what the hell saying that. Some people watch this, you never know. Good start, a massive and yet funny enough on tour buses when I do commentary I don't do a or but. Today's the day, of course, as you saw in the other video, that Adolf Hitler got what he wanted ever since 1918, and that was the French defeated and Armistice signed. Yesterday he walked out of a meeting with the French to show utter contempt for his old enemy and to sort of let them know who's boss. So apart from that, things have started to quieten down 80 years ago this week. That is not to say that the war, of course, is abruptly ended or that it's going to go back to the phony war, but there's this kind of, from what I, all the stuff I've read, there's this kind of weird feeling until the Battle of Britain properly kicks off in a couple of weeks' time. War still going on, even after the armistice, up until the 25th of June, the British and some French forces are evacuating from the likes of Saint-Nazaire, but by June 25th, most of the ports now have been, of course, captured by the Germans. La Rochelle was captured on the 22nd of June, but the French had destroyed much equipment. My mind's gone blank now. Look, I'm going to say Lorient, that can't be right. Or Le Havre, sorry, was captured in the days up to the armistice. And Hitler's got what he's won. Germany are going to control much of the country down to a certain point, and then the remainder south is going to be under the auspices of what becomes known as Vichy France, because that's where the government, so to speak, was based. And technically, this will be the last time that Britain was at war with France. There was a book about it, which its effective title was something like The Last War with France. It's not really realised. There's little tiny details that get overlooked. Like I heard it on QI when Stephen Fry was still doing it, that technically the Second World War didn't end until the reunification of Germany in 1989-90, because when the war ended, there wasn't a sort of treaty as such or armistice as such. The war was over, their surrender document was signed, and then Germany sort of didn't really exist for a year or two because there was military occupation, and then West Germany comes along and East Germany, and so for 45 years there was no Germany as such. It's two countries, and then 1990 rolls around, peace treaty over, war over, and so in theory, from 1940 to at least 44, Britain was at war with France, albeit in the shape of Vichy France, and it was led now by Marshal Pétain. Now tomorrow, June 23rd, 1940, I'm treating it like we're there chaps for some reason, Adolf Hitler visits Paris for the only time in his life, and burglars off back to Germany, never to return to Paris. I believe he makes further visits to France until 1944 in the shape of various Führer headquarters in France. I don't think he was there before the Battle of the Bulge. What part of France they still had, I don't think, no. I don't know why I was thinking that. But certainly he had a base of operations, the name of which escapes me because he had so many FHQs, that he would have possibly been in when Germany invaded Britain. Obviously that didn't happen. So he goes around Paris with a propaganda crew. The streets are terribly empty, no one wants to be around, even if Hitler's there. He has that famous photo in front of the Eiffel Tower, Speer and the others. He looks at Napoleon's tomb, he goes, very nice, I want everything 10 times bigger, and goes back to Berlin. Not straight away, I think there was a meeting he had with somebody or other. But if we look at my day-to-day DK book, I won't go into terribly detail, this is meant to be a quickie video, but tomorrow, Charles de Gaulle forms the French National Committee. Lefau is appointed Vice Premier of France. One of our British commando raids, first of the war, goes tits up at Boulogne. Then you've got on the 24th, 22,000 French soldiers holding out in the Vosges, mounting surrender. Tokyo asked Britain to close the Burma Road to stop the flow of materials to Hong Kong. Funny how times change. And the ball starts rolling on what ultimately becomes known as Oran, or the Mersey Kabir, and that is a discussion on how to stop the French Navy falling to the Germans. On the 25th, Germany starts 10 days of official celebrations, while France observes a day of national mourning, so you can't have everything. Russia starts getting a bit uppity on the 26th. They want Romania and Bessarabia, which is Moldavia, so pardon my French, so to speak. Germans reach the Spanish border on the 27th. Channel Islands are bombed on the 28th. Japan wants to control the South China Sea on the 29th. Funny how that changes. And old Goering, Fat Herman on the 30th, says he wants to blockade Britain by air. And to paraphrase Ralph Richardson in the film about Britain, history shows that Herr Goering's promises are not much. Very rarely upheld anyway, Goering. Oh, we can bomb them into submission at Dunkirk. No. Oh, we can defeat the RAF. No. Oh, we can get the chaps out of Stalingrad. No. just give up. Any other person would have got rid of Goering at some point. Hitler just probably didn't want that bastard rolling down on top of him. So the state of play in the last week of June 1940 is that the war is still carrying on around the world in theory, and it's not going to go away. Churchill is now got, the Free French. Him and Charles de Gaulle de Ploemel, they had a kind of love-hate relationship. Now Britain has to show it's prepared to do anything now to survive, if not win the war. And Mirza Kabir, or Iran, will be the first step, and a very bold, devastating, to this day controversial step. I'm surprised, to be honest, that amidst all this sea of criticism of Winston Churchill lately, some of which is justified, no one has mentioned the French shelling of the fleet. Sorry, the shelling of the French fleet. Indeed, I discovered a website that proclaims itself to be called something or other, about the Bengal famine. And I read it, and at university we were taught to be objective, not biased or anything. Now, fair enough, sometimes, you're swayed by opinion. I was, when I wrote my essay about Operation Market Garden, I showed too much fondness for Field Marshal Montgomery, for example, or my piece about the Battle of Britain, I got carried away by sentiment. But when you have something that is meant to be on a website that declares itself to be fact-based and educational and the like, to have such overwhelming bias against the subject, well, the instigator of the subject, it's hard to take it seriously or objectively, especially when you have the language including Churchill, the bastard, and then following on by what he said. Fair enough, it was a racist opinion, but and then there's another statement 2 lines over, Churchill, whose mother should have killed him in the room. Fair enough, if you are, but there are Indian scholars who have written much more clear-headedly about this and still managed to spear Churchill for what he did or didn't do, or said or didn't say, because there's much out there. And he did, by the way, I'm not denying that he said those things about them being beastly brown people and breeding like rabbits, but there's stuff that some people are attributing to Churchill that are expressed elsewhere. But when you're doing that, you gotta be down the middle, as close as you can. If you are writing on the auspices of a website that claims to be fact-based and fact-driven, then fine, have the facts like they do on the page, but do not in the first paragraph, which is meant to draw people in and keep them on side, have such language as he should have been killed in his mother's room. Hitler was a terribly evil person, Stalin was a terribly evil person, but I've yet to read someone that hated both of them quite a lot, and say from a right-leaning background, that said Stalin's mother should have shoved him back in the room and choked him or some such. So there's ways and means, and I'm sorry you had to hear that, chaps. If you disagree with me, fair enough. It's a democracy, so I'm told. Let me see. you're going to be subjected to a June 30th video about the Channel Islands going under. I say subjected because I got carried away by beyond June 30th. And let me see, July 3rd is a little over a week away. That's Mirza Kabir. Useless with pronunciations lately. So I'll try and do a video on that. I've got a lot in my head about Iran as far as facts or stories go. Not, and when I say stories, you know, factual stories. But I'm damned, I haven't got any books that actually have Iran in detail. So I've hoovered up stuff and I've got no way of sort of showing you it on screen, so to speak. So when that video comes around, bear with us if I am occasionally glancing down, because I like to quote if I can from subjects to give you, you know, I do know too much of my own good apparently, but you know, there's a little bit in the book about Churchill. I've got a little book somewhere else. I think my book about something or other. So that's all ahead. And then next thing, it'll be the 80th anniversary of the start of the Battle of Britain. Now, technically, the Battle of Britain started in the skies over Dunkirk. It's when the Spitfires first tussled properly with the Luftwaffe, where the Hurricanes got stuck in, and the pilots that survived Dunkirk, because quite a few on the quiet died unfortunately over Dunkirk and around the area, got a taste, proper fight with the Luftwaffe, because from May 10th to the collapse of France effectively, well, until the squadrons were pulled out and told to get their own way home, most of the RAF was kicked clean across France without time to pause, and it was, in some respects, the aerial offensive and operations against Luftwaffe and the like was not exactly Britain's finest hour. I mean, the bombers being massacred over Belgium, the Defiant stacking up a mortality rate and yet apparently Defiant shot down at some points of the 1940 much more than the Spitfire and Hurricane combined, so I have to check that out. And then it's open for debate whether or not I am actually going to carry this on into 1941, because 2021, sorry, because 2021 is going to be the 80th anniversary of things like Operation Barbarossa, the climax of the Blitz, actually, the hunt and the conclusion to the Bismarck, the operation against Pearl Harbor, the loss of the Repulse. Why does my mind go blank? Prince of Wales. How can I forget the Prince of Wales? And Fair Laugh a bit that not many people probably know about. So, and it also depends where I am with my job, if I have a job, because I could be losing it soon. So we'll see how it goes, chaps. Thank you very much.